Good evening everybody and welcome to the fourth round of the Greddy Cooper Z League, and we've gone back into the Gran Turismo time machine for round 4 of the championship here at Brands Hatch GP. Race was run 2 weeks ago of course, and the drivers had plenty of good amount of time and fun around this circuit in these, of course, first of all the Greddy Fugu Z cars and then the Mini Coopers, which we'll be covering shortly. Fortunately enough, it's all going to be completely legitimate reaction from myself because I haven't seen the race. I don't know the outcome of the race at all, which is good news. So it'll be completely unbiased commentary in terms of what we've got, so I'm looking forward to it. Good evening to Jordan as well, who's watching. Well, let's have a look at the qualifying positions from this race. So we got right the way to the front so we can see where everybody is. So Ruddo was on pole. Once again, Ruddo showing this season how fantastic he is as a driver in these Fugu cars. He seems to be excellent in those, number 24. Swargy lined up alongside him in second position. You had Bruce Lee Harding in third place. Good effort from Bruce to get on the front of the second row there. Matty Rudd in fourth position, with Nath 1981 lining up in fifth. It was Suburtis in sixth place in the Tomica livery before he changed last week at Willow Springs. Seventh place was D. Hartley, of course. He lined up there. Danzo was there in 8th place, just alongside him on that 4th row. Important position for Danzo. That looked like his best qualifying of the season. Then you got JPH 99 in 9th, with Snav in 10th place. Following on from that, you had NGR Tim in 11th position. Looks like Tim running an updated livery right at the back there by the seams of it. And Rin 00 was there in 12th place, the last of the cars on the grid. So pretty good in terms of the drivers line up in qualifying, and no huge surprises, but that's nothing to sniff at. Right, let's have a look at then and see how the drivers get on in this race. 20 minutes of course for the drivers to get themselves around this track. How will they get on? It's a new challenge for the drivers in the Fugus. How will he get on with it? It's a great start from Ruddo. He's absolutely launched himself off the line brilliantly. Great launch for him. He's going to lead into turn 1. Swargy's there in second. You've got Bruce Lee Harden alongside Matty Rudd, just holding on to that third place. It's D. Hartley sliding a little bit sideways, coming out of Paddock Hill Bend, but everybody filters in just about so far. But it looks like Matty Rudd's going to squeeze up the inside and take third place. By the looks of things, he has done. Bruce Lee was under pressure then from Suburtis briefly. That's D. Hartley trying to look up the inside of Nath, who's got himself into 6th position. Snav there, he's moved up a couple of spaces. JPH is there 9th. Danzo's gone backwards in 10th. In fact, Tim's up the inside in the Fujitsubo car, and he can't quite get on the power, loses out there, so Danzo keeps his hold in front. So let's have a look at the battles going on. It's Suburtis and Nath side by side for 5th position. The front 4 already making a pack to get away from everybody else who'll ride on board, or rather will follow Matty Rudd here. Let's get all the options available for everybody. There we go, it's a little bit better so we know where everyone is. Matty Rudd, ooh, big twitch as he goes into Sheen Curve. That's going to be him wide, and through goes Bruce Lee onto the podium spots. Just a little mistake. Very difficult corner to get right. That Nath running an updated livery. There he is, up in, I think he's just got past actually Suburtis. He has, he's up into 5th place, so good effort from him. Tim's back there. JPH has gone off. Jordan unfortunately dropped to 12th. He's going to look up the inside of Rin, going into the final corner at Clark Curve, and he gets himself through past the Maltese driver. So well done to him. But he's got a lot of work to do as JPH now. There's a lot of ground to be made up. That's Matty Rudd running wide again out of Paddock Hill Bend. It's all over the back of Bruce Lee, coming into, of course, turn 2. And that Druids, a little bit of opposite lock coming out of the corner. Of course, rear wheel drive, don't forget these cars. A lot of potential for the drivers to get themselves sideways. Nath doing a good job so far, just keeping on the back of Bruce and Matty Rudd. Gotta say, good effort from him. He's running that updated livery. Looks like an almost JPS Lotus livery sort of inspired Nismo logo that he's got running there. That's Matty Rudd trying to go around the outside and be brave if he can make his way through there, and he doesn't. He slots back in. There's Burtis in 6th, running well. Snav in 7th, Hartley 8th. Danzo in 9th. It looked like Danzo was a little bit sideways going through the right-hander. Tim's been caught now by JPH, who runs wide, and there's Rin sideways. Well, that could have been absolutely terrible for Rin, but keeps himself on the circuit. coming out of Hawthorns, and that's the main thing for Rin, just to keep himself on the circuit. Swargy, though, looks like he's going to get himself alongside Ruddo into turn. The final corner at Clark Curve. He gets himself through, runs a little bit wide on exit. Here comes Ruddo on the switchback. Ruddo gets himself into the little gap that's there. Swargy can't cut him off, and will he break a little bit later on into turn 1? He does indeed. Swargy tries to go underneath him, squeezes back through. Ooh, and pushes Ruddo out wide, so Swargy gets himself back into the lead of the race. I reckon Ruddo made a little mistake potentially at the Sheen curve. That's what's allowed the opportunity. Swargy now leads the race. Bruce Lee and Batty Rudd together for the battle for the podium. Naif's there, bursts a little bit further back. Snav, Hartley, Danzo, JPH has now passed Tim and Rin. Well, at the front, this is where the fight is currently brewing. A battle for the top 3 places, because, you know, Bruce Lee, Batty Rudd are still together. Naif's not too far away. You see Ruddo in the slipstream. Swargy moving across the track, going into Hawthorns. Oh, Swargy runs very deep there. Little blip of the throttle for Ruddo, and through he goes. Back into the lead. And Brands Hatch already proving the GP loop, proving to be very difficult for the drivers to adapt to. These cars will be more than happy to tail themselves out wide and run over the grass. Oh, that's Naif off in the background, just keeps it on the track. Having a little bit look further back, Hartley running a touch wide. Danzo's on the grass, but he just about keeps it on circuit. Is JPH going to look for a lunge? Didn't think he would. Oh, he's sideways out of the corner though. Fabulous to watch. Tim and Rin still running around, but Ruddo has the lead and fastest lap, so currently on for 23 points as it stands with the pole position point. Fastest lap going his way, 28.8 on that lap there. That was including overtaking Swargy, who's run deep going into Druids. That's going to cost him a good bit of time, and as we've seen with Ruddo, once he gets a little bit of gap, as admittedly he ran a little bit wide out of Graham Hill Bend, but once he gets a gap he can easily pull away, and that's what the drivers have got to be wary of. They don't allow him that opportunity. Batty Rudd in 4th, Naif 5th, Berta still in 6th place. Down into 3rd gear for Surtees, for Snav and D Hartley. These two seem to find each other on track quite often. Snav and D Hartley at some point. D Hartley's got to try and find a way through. Looks certainly the quicker of the 2 drivers currently, but not a good start for him. Dropped him right the way down. JPH is now past Danzo. Oh, that was in the background. Snav running a little bit deep. D Hartley's going to try and look for the undercut. So Snav sideways, a little bit of a brush, but Hartley goes through. Completely accidental by Snav. You could tell he was sideways. Oh, Hartley brushes that one off. He's into the top 7, make that 6th because Naif's gone off. He went wide the lap before, and he's gone off again at Sheen Curve, and that's going to drop him 2 places. If he does another mistake, JPH and Danzo will be licking their lips at another opportunity. Further in the fight for the top 3 places, Matty Rudd still hounding Bruce Lee as they come into Paddock Hill Bend for the 5th time of asking. Ooh, a little bit wide from Matty Rudd, but he gets away with it. AstroTurf, that's a late lunge. He definitely didn't intend to make the move. And good sportsmanship from Matty Rudd. He definitely didn't mean that overtake. He just had nowhere to go. Didn't want to hit the back of him. That's good racing. And Bertus still in 5th place. Gets a little gap now for himself. D Hartley, can he pull Snav along with him? And Naif. JPH trying to catch onto the back of this. And Danzo will be hoping he can use JPH to catch to the back of that quartet in front of them. And Tim putting in a good showing so far. Tim 31.9, only a second off the back of what Danzo's been able to achieve. Obviously one at Brands Hatch GP, one of Tim's more familiar circuits. He's able to keep on it. Rin's a couple of seconds off the pace, but this track always been about that consistency, and he runs wide at Surtees. That's going to cost him his personal best sector there. But Ruddo has now done exactly what he needed to do. He's disappeared up the road. Got a couple of seconds on Swargy. That mistake from Swargy proving pivotal in the battle for the race victory. There's still a long way to go though. Whether the drivers can make any impact on his lead behind him, that's going to be the key question. Matty Rudd's got himself past Bruce Lee. We haven't seen it. Oh, Matty Rudd has gone into the gravel trap. Here comes Bruce Lee along the inside. Will he break a little bit later? He does. Will he go through? We're on board with Matty Rudd. It's up the inside. Will he go for Graham Hill bend? A little bit of a touch. According to the replay, a little bit of a touch, but he goes through. And JPH has just moved up to 8th place as well. He's gone past Snav. Oh, Matty Rudd up onto the podium. 28.8. Matty Rudd's best lap so far. 28.7. Bruce Lee, so separated by a 10th really, but Matty Rudd gets himself on that podium spot. Burst is still having a lonely race in 5th. Not that that's a bad place to be. There's Hartley. Nath Snav has now been joined by JPH. Father and son out on circuit, sharing almost the same piece of tarmac. Oh, that looks like a bit of... Yeah, that's Nath who's gone off again. Nath has gone off at Hawthorns, and he's dropped to 9th. And he's in the gravel trap again at the next corner. Danzo's a little bit too far away. Danzo's gone off as well. He can't capitalise on it, but that's a shame for Nath. He was running 5th earlier on. He's wide again at Sheen Curve. He's got to just take a lap or two just to resettle, get back onto the pace he was at before, and strike again if he can. Right, on board with JPH. Looks like a good exit out of Clark Curve in the slipstream up to 125, 130, 130. Ooh, he's not going to go past Snav at turn 1. It's a little bit so, as you can hear the tyres screeching under the strain of the power going through the corner, but Snav runs a bit deep. JPH trying to look for an inside move, but he's not going to be quite there to lunge up the inside just yet. JPH definitely the quicker of the two drivers. You can see he's hounding all over the back of that rear lip spoiler of the Betty Swallock's car in front of him. He's trying to find every which way possible to go round. He's not going to get through. D. Hartley's gone off. He was not too far away from Burtis before, but he's made a mistake on this lap, so that's a trio potentially coming together there. Burtis now left on his own for 5th place. He's kind of in no man's land, really. But no change in the top 4. In fact, Matty Rudd's actually managed to get himself away from Bruce Lee. Oh, that's good news for him, so we'll concentrate on the fight over 7th position. Hello to those that have commented. But you can see now Snav under pressure from JPH. Ooh, a little bit sideways from Snav on corner entry, but he's going to keep hold of it. JPH has got the momentum. He's right behind. Get the camera angle so we can see what we can see. What Jordan can see as well in this position. Up, climbs over the curb at turn 1, 3rd gear. It's just under 100 miles an hour. Down on the brakes into 2nd gear for JPH. Gets the car, just swings the tail out just a little bit for the drivers to sort of pivot the car into the corners. Snav runs a little bit deep at Graham Hill Bend. Now this is the closest fight on circuit. Half the race gone so far. Happy birthday to you, Motor Magpie. But in any case, 2 tenths quicker on this lap so far, and Snav's actually closed the gap on D. Hartley in front. You can see the time there as well that D. Hartley set last time around, 33.8, almost 4 seconds slower than the lap prior, which means he's gone off on track, potentially at Surtees for that matter, trying to push to catch Suburtis, the highest non-UK driver in the race currently. Snav trying to put the pressure on. That's Hartley in the grass. He's going to get away with it. Pretty innocuous, but that's going to be a loss of momentum coming out of the second to last corner. Snav on the outside line coming towards Clark Curve. Will D. Hartley try and challenge it up the inside? Gives a little bit of room to Snav, and JPH trying to go around the outside. That would have been cheeky at Clark Curve. Didn't quite pull it off. A good race in between the 3. Opportunity knocked there for JPH, but didn't quite get himself up into 7th position. It's actually bringing Nath back into this as well. It's not too far away. He can see that trio. He wants to make it a quartet. D. Hartley's gone very deep though, coming out of Druids. He's just going to have enough momentum though to keep himself in front going into turn 3. JPH clipping the grass. You just saw him going a little bit sideways. The front 4 not getting much coverage. They are flying up front. Not having too many although having said that, actually just looking at the top, Swargy leads the way. Matty Rudd's in second. What has happened to Ruddo? He's gone off on this lap. I was just checking the timing screens for a brief moment. Purple lap so far, 27.5 lap last time around, but he's gone off the track. And Ruddo, as Bruce Lee almost joined the escapades into the grass at the Sheen Curve, Ruddo has dropped to 3rd place. He's lost a lot of time. Whoa, Ruddo again running wide. He's sideways out of curve, but he just holds it. Look how much time he's lost. That's almost 10 seconds, just over. Ruddo 24. Not straightforward. Bruce Lee there. Ooh, that's exceptionally wide from Bruce Lee. He's going to go round. He's just about kept it on circuit, but that might just spell any chance at Bruce getting a podium there. Ruddo hitting the curb, spinning himself round. Looks like he's done it either at Hawthorns or Surtees. One of the 2 corners he's gone off there in terms of where he was relating to everybody else. Bursis then just running in 5th place. Snav is past D Hartley whilst all that chaos was going on. JPH trying to work with Snav to get up to the back of D Hartley, but now finds himself in a sandwich of 2 family members, does D Hartley. What can JPH do? He's right in the slipstream of the 2 cars in front. He's going to get a double toe on the way to Hawthorns. On the brakes into 3rd gear for JPH. Just under 100 miles an hour. You can see in the rear view window, you can actually see Nath there as well. Snav's gone wide. He's got it wrong. And Snav's going to go into the gravel trap, and off he goes. Down into... Oh, that's Nath off as well. So, it's claimed 2 cars at once. In a space of 2 corners, Nath goes off again. I think Snav's actually slowing up there. I didn't quite see the camera angle, but Snav lets him back through. So it looks like Snav's come back onto the track and he's just clipped Nath, unfortunately. But that drops them out of the fight for the top 6. So JPH sideways out of the Clark curve there. He's on his own and fighting D Hartley for that 6th position. D Hartley will be happy with all of that. He's got himself his place back. Whilst Bursis going into the gravel a little bit there. There's Bruce Lee in 4th. Ruddo behind his brother in the fight for 2nd. Swargy, he's just got to do what he needs to now. He's only got a quarter of the race left. All he has to do is just bring the car home. Nice consistent lap times all the way since last lap 5. He's been fantastic at that, has Swargy. He hasn't tried to push the envelope too far. It's just extending his gap lap by lap over Matty Rudd. Not by much, couple of tenths, but that's all you need around this circuit. Ruddo will be kicking himself though. That lap time that he's done there on lap 8 is incredible. 27.5, that's outstanding. But right now, he's only fighting for 2nd place. He's going to be on the outside then, coming towards Clark Curve. Championship leader on the brakes around the outside. I think Matty Rudd led him through, really. So 3.5 minutes now for Ruddo to try and make some form of impression on the gap in front. So 28.1 from Ruddo there, 28.8 from Swargy, so 7 tenths the difference. Looking at the gap, I'd estimate it's about 3 seconds at this stage. And with roughly 3 laps potentially to go, Ruddo's going to have to really push hard now. He's actually set a fastest first sector of anybody. That will help his quest and get him back up to Swargy. Bruce Lee's in 4th. He's pretty much isolated now at this point. Just needs to stay on the circuit and not go into the gravel trap or blame lag for that matter. Burtis there in 5th. And D Hartley still on the threat from JPH, who can't find his way through. New personal best that last lap from JPH. Really putting the rear axle of that Fugu Z under strain. Ooh, just underneath the back at D Hartley. Trying to get a better exit off the corner. He is trying his utmost, you can see it. He's not through yet. Nathan Snav still quite close on circuit, but Doesn't look like there's a fight on there just at this present moment. Oh, that's D. Hartley wide at Hawthorns. JPH can't get underneath. What about the next right-hander? That's D. Hartley wide. Now they're going to go side by side towards Sheen Curve. JPH has the momentum. He's got the inside line. That should be moved on. It is indeed. And JPH has been fighting for that move for a couple of laps now. And he gets through. Will we see him drive off into the sunset? Not quite. He's in the grass. A bit more green than the sun, but nevertheless, JPH now gets that move sorted up into 6th place. Burst is still running around in the 1 minute 30s. See JPH's best lap now if it comes across the line. No, it won't be the best lap for him. He's actually gone a little bit slower. That excursion, the overtake won't have helped. Swargy with 28.5. Ruddo with 28.2. He's not doing enough at present, but he's brought Matty Rudd back into it. Matty Rudd just got a bit of momentum now following another car. Someone who can set the pace for him. Oof, Bruce Lee giving it full commitment coming out of Surtees. Versus in 5th, JPH still 6th now with D. Hartley. Nathan 8th. Nathan 8th's got a lovely rhyme to it. Could have been better. No, Matty Rudd has got himself past Ruddo, who's gone off. And once again, another mistake coming out of Westfield, which has claimed a few drivers in this race so far, and Ruddo's chance of getting 2nd position taking a huge blow. He's going to have to get through this final lap. No more mistakes, and Bruce Lee will be safely secure in 4th, but Ruddo can't make any more mistakes. That's 2 now. It's not characteristic of the McGann champion and the championship leader here in the Greddy Cooper Z League. Got to find a bit more momentum for race 2 in the minis. Bertha is still there in 5th place. JPH has stretched his legs now. He's off and up the road from D. Hartley. Gap of about a 2nd at this point. That should be enough for him to stroke home. Snav's past Nath. So since we said Nathan 8th, he's down in 9th now. He's got 1 more lap, will he? Just about. So he'll have 1 more lap now. Oh, Snav sideways over the curb. And we'll watch Nath as he tries to go around the outside. At Druids, Danzo's seen the checkered flag, as has Tim. Oh, Tim will do shortly. There he goes across the line. Rin will come across it too. That's been great battling so far. Nath's trying to go to the outside line. Can't quite force a way through there. You get good momentum. He does, but Snav covers that line. I'm going to have to cut away from this for a moment though, because Swargy 98 has done exactly what he needs to do. Exceptionally consistent all the way through. Personal best on that last lap. Swargy 98 is going to win race 1 of the night at Brands Hatch GP. Brilliant result for him. He takes the victory. Matty Rudd did what he needed to do. 2nd place for him. He'll be chuffed with that. Ruddo, though, will be kicking himself. It's 3rd place for him. Bruce Lee Hardin just gets rid of that penalty at the end. Not that it would have affected anybody, but he's going to be in 4th. Bertis rounds the final corner. Got to say, really impressive drive from Bertis. That's very good from him. He's going to come home in 5th position, the Dutch driver. JPH in 6th. Fought his way through at the end, but that mistake on lap 1 really did cost him. D. Hartley in 7th position. Snav and Nath are side by side, but Nath's going to get past and Snav's got a penalty to deal with. It's going to be a run to the line, but it will be Nath who takes 8th and Snav in 9th. What a race. It was absolutely fantastic to watch. Great results for Swargy in the end. He managed to get himself that position that he's wanted to do for quite some time. He ended up taking the 1st position. But mistakes from Matty Rudd, that's something to be aware of, really. You know, he is capable of making mistakes. He is human after all, which a lot of people don't expect, but he is indeed. Now, in terms of the race 2, we'll have a look at shortly. I'm just going to load the replay so we can get that going. It'll take a few moments to sort out, but excellent results for Swargy. Matty Rudd will no doubt have been happy as well with that 2nd place. He'll start on the back row alongside Swargy, of course. On the and you've got Bruce Lee lining up behind Ruddo, so Ruddo will start third to last with Bruce Lee Harden in fourth to last. Good result for Bertis. Normally one driver you'd expect to see at the front for the minis in terms of fighting, getting a good start from the mid-pack, but he's going to have to fight from a little bit further back this time around. JPH, one to watch in the minis as well. D. Hartley's been performing well in the minis all season long. Seems to be running in the top 5 in the championship as well in the mini league. So very interesting to see how he will get on with that as the lobby now loads itself up from the replay for round 2. Which will take just a moment, I'm sure. But it's going to be a fascinating race. Minis do like to understeer. Is a natural prone element of the original Cooper S, but we will see. We will see how the drivers get on. I'm looking forward to this race. It'll be Rin on, well, it would have been Rin on pole position, but evidently that doesn't look like to be the case. So it's Tim on the left hand side in that green Mr. Bean livery, with Danzo in second, Snav in third with Naif, D. Hartley, JPH, Bruce Lee, Ruddo, Matty Rudd and Swargy rounding out the top 10. We've lost 2 drivers, unfortunately, including Bertus and Rin. So let's see how the drivers get on for this one. It's going to be very interesting to see who takes the spoils. But moments away, the lights will be running any second now as we go into race 2, and Tim has jumped the start and everybody else goes on beyond that. It's going to be surely Danzo who takes and jumps himself into the lead. Snad's going to try and go to second place if he can. Tim's all the way down there. D. Hartley, what a start from D. Hartley. He's got himself up the grid into second place. JPH was briefly up there too, but Naif's in third. Look at all the minis trying to fight over the same piece of track. Ruddo's up to 5th. What a great start. Can he get through past Snav? He's had a bit of contact with Snav. Gotta say, that looked a little bit out of the parameters that it should have been. It's almost free wide going into Graham Hill Bend, but Snav holds 6th. JPH 7th. There's Bruce Lee in 8th position. Swargy and Tim has dropped to the back after his jump start, but Danzo leads the way. He had a really good launch, got himself away from the chaos to begin with, and he has clear track in front of him. D. Hartley second, Naif third, Ruddo 24 up into 4th. He's took his brother with him. Then there's a gap back to Snav going sideways. Not had a good opening lap at all. Look at this, it's going to be free wide on the way into Hawthorns. Who's going to hold on to it first? Who's got the nerves of steel? It's Swargy. Bruce Lee goes through and JPH loses 2 places for the price of 1. He's down into 8th. Tim's there, 9th place. Snav will be really annoyed at what happened in the opening couple of corners. He got sort of turned around. He won't be pleased about that. Danzo though already under pressure. Look at Naif, look at the 2 Rudds as well, trying to force their way through. Naif gets himself into second position, already looking to challenge Danzo. These two, Danzo and Naif, have shared so much track over the years on different games within NXTGEN. 2 veterans, of course, of the NXTGEN Racing League community, fighting it out once again for a spot at the front. Will it be Danzo who leads over the line? Will it be Naif? It's going to be very close. It might have been Naif actually going across the line in first, and he's through into the lead. The Rusty Mini is at the front of the pack. Then it's D. Hartley right behind Danzo, but it looks like D. Hartley's going to have the gap up the inside. He does indeed. He's going to go through. And Ruddo trying to go through as well, but that's going to be quite difficult. Danzo has the momentum. D. Hartley covers the inside into Graham Hill Bend. Ruddo placed his car excellently, gets the momentum, and he's up onto the podium spots already. And Matty Rudd follows him through, and Swargy is just about latched himself onto the front half of the pack. Danzo just suffering from momentum. He's been fired out of a cannon. He's gone from 1st to 5th in the space of roughly 4 corners. Not ideal for him. Bruce Lee's caught up. JPH is a bit distance from the pack. Tim's there in 9th. Snav has retired, so not ideal for him. Oh, that's wide from Naif coming out of Hawthorns. Not ideal for him. Look at Matty Rudd, was looking potentially a little sniff inside of his brother. And D. Hartley's going to lose all the momentum. Did not need that at all. And through goes Ruddo just before they get to Sheen Curve. Out of Westfield. Ruddo had the momentum and he's up to second and could see a race victory in front of him as Matty Rudd does exactly the same thing as Ruddo had done a couple of corners earlier. He sweeps past D. Hartley, and D. Hartley off the podium places. Oh, that's Ruddo into the gravel. And off the track, he's going to lose so much momentum. Bruce Lee's going to get past him. What about Danzo? Will he have enough momentum to go through? Oh, Ruddo's... Oh, that was a... Oh, that was a little bit naughty. A little bit naughty, that one, I have to say. Has allowed JPH to catch up as well. Ruddo... Ooh, not certain on that one. I'm sure the stewards will have looked at it, but Danzo won't be too pleased about being balked at being going through. So D Hartley up trying to defend from Bruce Lee. D Hartley's another driver who's just trying to hang on to this group at the front because Swargy's passed him and in third place. Matty Rudd in second, and Naif at the moment leading the way as a third of the race we're coming up to. Naif 1981 could be on for a podium here if he could just keep himself on the circuit. That's a big ask around this circuit. Bruce Lee, is he going to get through this time on D Hartley? D Hartley trying to go round the outside. He's right on board with Ruddo's, looking at the pair of them. Can't find a way through there, but Bruce Lee's through at Westfield, and I think Ruddo's going to try and do the same. It'll be really difficult for the two to try and run side by side, and sure enough, I'm sure Hartley will break a little bit earlier, which he does. And into fifth goes the recovering Ruddo. Danzo in seventh. There's JPH Tim down in ninth place at the moment. Naif's got a penalty. Should be able to clear that around the lap. There's a few opportunities for him to do it. Let's see how he clears that penalty, because Matty Rudd's joined him. They've got a nice little buffer to Swargy. You know, the two of them using the racing brain, they should be able to work together on that one, but we'll see how that plays out. Third of the race gone so far. Bruce Lee, ooh, almost up on two wheels. D Hartley trying to go up the inside towards Druids, and he's straight through. Had so much more momentum. Ruddo, though, deciding I'm going to brake a little bit later than your son. Can't get through. D Hartley's left the door open. Now he just about closes it shut. D Hartley in fifth place. Ruddo trying his utmost. JPH again just sort of suffered from a mid-early race split as Tim decides to go and do a bit of lawn mowing in the background. Danzo in eighth. But yeah, Naif still in the lead at the minute. Matty Rudd with the new best lap of the race. Almost a second quicker on that previous lap. Oh, Naif again wide at Hawthorns. Swargy in third place as Bruce Lee, Ruddo, D Hartley all together. See Ruddo and D Hartley running effectively the same livery, but Ruddo's underneath at Westfield. Is he going to try and make that lunge into Sheen Curve? He does indeed. They're trying to run side by side. The two of them give each other racing room. D Hartley currently has the inside for the corner in the second to last one, and he gets that position back. But Ruddo giving it his utmost, trying to come back with the momentum, and I think he's just about going to get through here at the final corner, and he is. Ruddo back up to fifth place. Got a lot of work to do, but if anybody can do it, it's the championship leader. See JPH just doing it as best he can. He's ooh, D Hartley all over the place at Paddock Hill Bend. That's going to cost him. It's going to cost him a lot of time. Well, that's Matty Rudd. Matty Rudd has gone off at Paddock Hill Bend and he's dropped to fifth place. He's on the inside for Graham Hill Bend. Will Matty Rudd hold that position? He just about does. But that is a huge let-off for Naif. This is the gap that Naif has now. He leads the way. It's been such a long time since Naif, 1981, won a race, a league race, within NXTGEN, from what I can remember. A veteran of the old Group A Tourers was Naif back in the day on Project Cars, and you know, other leagues as well. He's been in F1 leagues too. Oh, Swargy just wide at Hawthorn, but it'd be a great result for Naif if he can hold on. But he needs to avoid that mistake at Westfield. That's a corner that's tricking everybody at the moment. Ruddo and Rudd swapping places. Championship leader back up into fourth. He's making his way through. He's got 7 minutes to make an impression on the 3 cars in front of him. And Bruce Lee quietly finds himself in a podium spot. I've got to say, very impressive drive from Bruce. Not particularly noticed in terms of flash moves, but there's nothing wrong with a bit of consistency. Looks a little bit closer as well Looking at the lap times, Nath is holding that a great lap from Nath. Fastest lap of the race, 37.8. Swargy, 38.8. Bruce, 38.2. Ruddo in the 39s, although he's just got past his brother. And Dee Hartley's just got past Rudd as well, but switch back immediately for Matty Rudd. Gets himself into the top 5 again. I don't wish to tempt fate, and in fact I'm not going to say it. Don't want to give the commentator's curse to anybody. Danzo and Tim running together out on circuit. They've done this a number of times over the years, of Tim and Danzo. Can Tim try and get away through, get himself up into the top 8? Nath leading the way. Swargy, he's been caught by Bruce. 38.2, 38.8 from Swargy. 2 race wins in a row would be incredible for Swargy, but he's going to have to now not only catch Nath, but also fend off the advances of Bruce Lee Harding. Always run deep at Westfield. Is this a chance for... It is indeed. In fact, I think Swargy let off the throttle there. I think Swargy's recognising... Ooh, Bruce Lee flirting with danger out of Sheen Curve. But I think Swargy recognises that he needs a bit of a run here. He needs a couple of laps just to find that speed again. A couple of wobbles through the track certainly will knock the confidence in these minis. He just wants some momentum, and that's Ruddo off again at the final corner at Clark Curve. He's fortunate this time. He's not going to lose much ground in terms of positions, but Ruddo 24, Brands Hatch GP, not his forte at all in round 4. He's not enjoyed it. Whoa, JPH all over the grass going into Paddy Hill Bend. Avoided collision. Need best lap from JPH. First time he's in the 38s. And Danzo and Tim still together out on circuit. Have a new fastest lap of the race though. That's gone to Bruce Lee Harden on a 37.8. In fact, Bruce Lee Harden's been really passed by Swargy. And with 4 minutes to go, these two have got to make up what I'd hazard it being, I'd say, a 3 to 4 second gap. These are really the only two now who can make any claim to a race victory outside of Nath. Ruddo there in 4th position, Matty Rudd in 5th. Dee Hartley tracked closely by JPH. Matty Rudd's escaped up the road. Ooh, a little bit deep from JPH at Westfield, and into the gravel trap he goes. And look at the momentum you lose if you go wide. That's it. So gaps now across the track. Tim's been closing the gap on Danzo. He can sniff an 8th position. Chucks the car in, does Tim. Nice bout of confidence there from Tim. 6/10 up on his best lap so far. Tim's showing a clean set of heels. But Bruce Lee Harding and Swargy, that's where the fight is at the moment. Battle for 2nd and the battle for 8th. Swargy into the gravel trap just again. Skipping out of it, getting away with it. But this is good championship points for Swargy regardless. Ruddo, I think, is too far back now, unless another mistake occurs. Swargy still in 2nd place. 37.9 on that last lap, which is a couple of attempts quicker than Nath. 2.5 minutes to go in the race. Nath 1981 just needs to keep it on track. Swargy and Swargy, the pair of them going flying off Hawthorns. Not the ideal race line, and nor's that from Swargy. Is this the momentum that Bruce Lee needs to get past? Swargy defends the inside line on Sheen Curve approach. Chucks the car in sideways. There's nowhere for Bruce to go really. He's going to look to the outside, but nothing doing for the 2nd to last corner. Ruddo chucks the car in. He's got to just keep himself in a position where he could capitalise if these two go off circuit. But Bruce still not finding his way through. He did it once before, made a mistake, dropped back past. Did Swargy. 2 Rudds, 4th and 5th. Hartley there in 6th, JPH 7th. Tim's up to 8th. Danzo, I think, has retired, which is a great shame. But Tim's going to get his 8th place. Stay with Tim. I just want to see what his next best lap is here. Not quite into the 39s. Swargy and Bruce Lee running head to tail. JPH and D Hartley also fighting hard over 6th position. That's still really competitive racing from everybody currently. Really fun to watch for the drivers. There comes Bruce Lee Harding again. Will he have enough time to get another lap in? Ruddo's not too far away. Ruddo's actually done the fastest lap of the race there, 37.7. Proust's trying to go around the outside at Hawthorns. That's not going to work. He just runs out wide. Every little mistake that the Mini driver makes, it just exacerbates the problem further. Mini obviously doesn't have as much power as the Fugu, so you can't get out of trouble. But if you do with this in the Mini, you go wide, you lose so much momentum. And that's what you can see corner by corner. Ruddo has been gaining on these two immensely. He might. Will he have enough time to get to this final lap? It's going to be extremely close. Here we come then towards the final corner. 10 seconds on that left hand side. I think it's going to be oh so close. Will Swargy get across the line in time? He does. In fact, so it's Swargy who takes 2nd, Bruce Lee 3rd, Ruddo 4th. Matty Rudd will take 5th position with D Hartley and JPH 99 6th and 7th respectively. Well done to Tim. Had a really good race actually. You look at his lap times in the low 40s, a couple of them there. That's good timing from Tim. But the drive of the day has to go to this man. Nath 1981. It's been a long time since I last saw Nath 1981 get a race win. It's not to say he's a bad driver by any means, but in and out of the championship for a number of seasons, the rust-covered Mini is going to take a surprise victory. This is his now. He can enjoy this final lap. That's all on him. Into Hawthorns, runs it on the gravel for no reason other than the fact that he can do. Slicks the car through. He's having a good time. Chucks the car into Westfield. A couple of mistakes running through. He's not too fussed. He knows that this race is as good as his. Chucks the car. We've got a very peculiar camera angle that we can't seem to be able to... There we go, we can get it back now. We can't seem to change it now that the event is over, but look, he's already celebrating. He knows that this race is his. Chucks it through the final corner. Does Nath 1981. It's going to be for the first win of the season, and for quite some time, it's Nath 1981 wins it at Brands Hatch GP. What a race that proves to be. Nath 1981 taking a win we've not seen for some time, and it's a good result for him. Really well done. Also, congrats as well to Swargy for holding on to that 2nd place ahead of Bruce Lee Harding. Ruddo, he got fastest lap in the end, but what could have been? He had a great start, but it just didn't go right for him in the end, and that caused him to finish 4th. Couple of mistakes as well. Not ideal. He will hope for his sake that that won't happen again. Good result for Tim, running out in 8th position. 5th going the way in terms of drivers. Good results for all of those involved. A couple of retirements in the end, Snav not getting the run of the green earlier on. We didn't see what happened to Danzo. I think he's either disconnected or retired, and we didn't also see Bertus and Rin on circuit, which would have been very interesting to see how those two got on, but in the end that's how it was. So that is it for round 4 of the championship. Next week, round 6 will resume. We're on a week break currently at the moment, which gives everybody enough time to catch up, a little bit of breath back for all the drivers. But round 6 we'll be heading off to, it'll be commentated on live, of course, Thursday nights here with NXTGEN Racing. Do check us out, of course, on the load of different social media channels that we have, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, and the website where you can check out all the other league events that are going to be going on. That's going to be fantastic for the NXTGEN Racing group. Also, do check out Boyd Transport Racing as well. A number of events that will be running soon as well. Don't forget we got JPH running with that livery there. And lastly, of course, the resumption, or rather should I say the brand new season of Next Gen Tuesday nights, returning on Formula 1 2021. The new regulations and new cars we're seeing recently on F1 22. A few months away yet in terms of the game, but a new season starting in Next Gen, which will be fantastic on Tuesday nights, which you will see in the coming weeks, which will be great. But nevertheless, I've been Jack TM53 Synopsis, your commentator on Thursday nights with Next Gen for GT Sport. GT7 not too far away either, so this will be the last league that we no doubt will run on Gran Turismo Sport. But wherever I might be in the big wide world, have a good one. See you soon.